He walked toward it like a man walking toward something he'd already decided. I told myself it was courage. I think it was something colder than that.
Welcome, Initiate. The Imperium calls him the Great Angel, the Perfect Son, the purest soul the Emperor ever made, standing between Horus and humanity on the Vengeful Spirit, and fell so that we could live. His death is a great tragedy of the Horus Heresy, a noble sacrifice with a cruel fate. The moment that broke the galaxy in two. This is the Imperial versions. Sanguinius saw his own death 1,000 times before it happened. He knew about the ship, the hour, and exactly what Horus would do to him. And he went anyway. This broadcast exists to answer one question. If the Great Angel could see the future, why didn't he change it? Let's start with the approved narrative. Sanguinius was everything the Emperor hoped humanity could be. Tall, radiant, beloved by his brothers. During the Great Crusade, he was the living proof that the Primarchs were more than weapons. He was hope given a face. When Horus fell to chaos and the heresy began, Sanguinius remained loyal without hesitation. When the War Master's fleet struck Terra, Sanguinius was there, and when the Emperor moved toward the Vengeful Spirit, Sanguinius went first. Meeting Horus alone, he fought with everything he had, but fell. His death broke the last chain of mercy in the Emperor's heart. It showed him what Horus had become. Why has to be Sanguinius that died, and not like, I don't know, Erebus the little I'm sorry, I'm just sad that Sanguinius died. Anyway, that is the version painted in every chapel, carved into every Blood Angels monastery wall, and recited in every Sanguinala sermon. But it doesn't explain why he refused to be stopped. There's a crack in the gift itself. Sanguinius was a seer like his father, but without the Emperor's control. The visions came uninvited, not like revelations, and more like nightmares, and among them, one image returned again and again with perfect clarity: his own death. He saw it as a memory of something that hadn't happened yet, something like his brother did, Konrad Curze. The Night Haunter was a seer who also saw his own death, foresaw it with the same terrible precision: a woman with a blade, an assassin sent by the Imperium. He knew exactly how it would end, and exactly who would end it, and he let her in anyway. He is called a monster, a madman who surrendered to his worst impulses and dragged his legion into atrocity. That is true, but also incomplete. Both Primarchs received the same gift, saw their deaths coming, and both stopped trying to escape it. The difference is what they understood. Konrad concluded that fate was meaningless because everything was written so nothing mattered. His visions showed him a monster, so he then needed to be one, but Sanguinius understood something different. He couldn't avoid his death, but he could choose what his death meant. That's the first crack, the decision. The second one is what he saw beyond his own death. In the final days before the Vengeful Spirit, those visions escalated. He didn't just see how he died. There are dark theories that the visions told them what would happen if he didn't die, showing them futures worse than the actual timeline. If Sanguinius dies at Horus's hand, the Emperor reaches Horus. The whole story as we know, the Imperium survives, broken, grieving, and grinding into 10,000 years of brutal stagnation. Now let's run the other timeline. If Sanguinius doesn't board the Vengeful Spirit, then the Emperor faces Horus alone. And in every future where Sanguinius lives and the Emperor fights first, the Emperor doesn't survive. Which means the end of the Imperium as we know it. The survival of Sanguinius is a death sentence for humanity. And he knew this. He had seen it. And even carrying the full weight of that knowledge, he wasn't prepared for that came next. A dark offer. Ready your ears for this because canon keepers are going to be mad. On the Vengeful Spirit, there was a voice, a promise whispering things. Kill Horus and take the Emperor's place so you could save your sons. Lead humanity yourself. There is power enough around you to take it and make it yours. Sanguinius saw what he would become, an angel of ruin, a new tyrant, chaos wearing the face of the Imperium's greatest saint. His sons saved, mankind enslaved, and a future that looked like salvation and functioned like damnation, ruled by something that had once been him. My boy Sangui refused, But the visions didn't stop. They showed him the 41st millennium as it is, a rotting corpse in the golden throne, billion prayers a day rising from a trillion worlds and reaching nothing. Superstition wearing the name of religion, war on every front and losing on most of them, held together by bureaucracy and terror and sheer grinding refusal to die. Sanguinius, standing in that vision, looking at that future with the guns of the War Master pounding at the walls, thought, perhaps this miserable reality is the best that can be hoped for. Not an imperium that deserved the men who would die for it, just better than nothing. So he went to the ship. Sanguinius was a Primarch, the finest warrior his legion had ever produced. But against chaos-empowered Horus, backed by the four ruinous powers, the odds were poor. But Sanguinius wasn't going to the Vengeful Spirit to win. He was going to accomplish one thing only: to remove the Emperor's hesitation. Because the Emperor still loved Horus, even knowing what the heresy had cost and what he had become, there was still a part of the Emperor that hoped. Sanguinius understood that as long as that hope existed, the Emperor would hesitate and cost humanity everything, so he gave his father a reason to stop hoping, making Horus kill the galaxy's purest soul in cold blood, without a fragment of the brother they had both once known. When the Emperor arrived and saw what Horus had done, he knew what has to be done. And that was the plan, from the first vision to the last breath. We conclude there are two versions of Sanguinius. The Great Angel, humanity's martyr, perfect son and loyal beyond measure, was cut down by a corrupted brother before his time. Real tragic, because that is one of the Primarchs who might have made the Imperium something better than what it became. The second version is a man who saw 10,000 futures, chose the only one that worked, and walked toward his own death with his eyes open. Not a victim of fate, but its master. A seer who understood that the meaning of a moment lives not in what happens, but in what it prevents. The Illuminati Broadcast Network doesn't tell you what to believe. We just make sure you've seen what is actually there so you can choose. Which version of the Great Angel do you believe? Sanguinius's report is closed. Hope you like it, and thanks for watching.